Good day, my dear ones. It's always such a pleasure to sit here and talk with you. Always. Gosh, there's a million of you I'd like to thank for all kinds of things. You're just all sweet, loving people. And Helen, you know who you are. I love this letter from you, my dear. So, Helen, I'll just leave it at Helen from California. Thank you, love. I love you too, honey. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Good comments. Gillespie, I don't know what to say to you. Definitely an interesting gift. Love you, man. Thank you so much for that. Interesting. That's all I said, interesting. We got this young lady's, our Annie's fruitarian book in. It's pretty neat. But what a love this lady is. This is how she packets her books. Is that not a love? That is a lovely woman. That is a big-hearted woman. It's amazing. But when you're at the level, and this is how she packed it. Huh. You know, when you're in these higher levels, it's so much fun and a privilege. I've always had a privilege in the universe of dealing with more awakened beings. It was just so much of a privilege. And that's how I feel now. There's so many of you that are just really, really incredible. I appreciate every one of you and all the work you're doing on yourselves. And just some of you have just done some incredible work on you. This is Charlie Parker. Man, I think you're really good. I like your investigative. He's an investigative reporter. That's what he does. I like your facts on water and all this. Definitely good stuff, man. You know, it always is about the pH. You know, I say everything is all about the pH. At one level, you can have an acid that's beneficial. At another level, it'll rip you. You know, it's just all about the pHs. And all about chemistry at one level. And then again, we go, it's all about energy. It's all about magnetics. Well, it's all about all of it. And it all will fall in line. Good chemistry, good magnetics. Not so good chemistry, not so good magnetics. So it's all tied into frequencies and everything else. And everybody wants energy and they want to be healthy. Then the question is, why would one cook anything? You know, a lot of people believe if you cook vegetables, it makes them digest better. So why would you eat them even raw? You see what I'm saying? I mean, I love my raw veggies. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, Charlie Parker, I really like what you do. I like research, and we need people to research. I'm literally burned out with research. I've done so much in my life. I love you guys doing all this and stuff, and it's really, really good. And he talks a lot about the blood, lymph, the cerebral spinal fluid, the human body. I'm talking about the alkalinity of it, the 7.4, what we talk about here and this stuff. Does say a few things that cancer cells don't survive well above 8.5 pH. But remember why. What's going on here? Remember, a cancer cell is nothing more than a damaged, mutated cell from what? Well, you have to know in the world of chemistry there's only one side. I've never seen alkalized damaged cells. I'm sure they could. Because if you're at the opposite end, if you're up at 14, you got a pretty good burn right there. But you don't see that a lot. You just don't see that a lot. And if you look at all wastes and byproducts, they're obviously of the acid side. So it's always acidosis, just about always acidosis. Now, I just thought you had a lot of good comments about this. How's your water? And then here is sudden cardiac death from diet products. I thought that was very interesting. I haven't had a chance to really read that one so much, but interesting stuff about chemistry. And it is all about chemistry here. Now, let me see here. I don't think this should be mine. I spent a good amount of time on the Facebook group before I went down. I've seen a lot of people. I don't know. I have to look at that one and see. Okay, so this is from Nabil, and I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, so I want to be careful. My name is Nabil. I'm 36, and I live in Paris, France. I just discovered your videos about the food health, and I am pleased, by the way, that you described the path to good health. Thanks, man. I would like to get your opinion and some advice about an eye disease called Keratoconus. It's a degenerative disorder of the eye in which structural changes within the cornea cause it to thin and change to a more, how do you pronounce that, rounded shape than the more normal gradual curve. It's destroying my life because I can't no more fit lenses, and it's dangerous for me to get a corneal transplant. Oh yeah, definitely, big time. Okay, so think about this. What side of chemistry, I think you always should go to this sort of thing. What side of chemistry that people are in most of the time that causes mutation of tissue? Acids. So that means your lymphatic system in your head area is not, you're not draining properly. Either you're on top of chronic bouts, your kidneys aren't filtering, but you've got to fix this, because it just won't be the cornea. You're talking about all the other eyes, parts of the eye, the retinas and all this, and now there's wrinkled retinas, there's all kinds of stuff from what acids are doing to tissue. And the inability of the body to fight that. And you put that together with like a parathyroid weakness where you can't utilize calcium properly, and you're going to lose structure, you're going to lose the coloration, the white of the viscous, you're going to lose all kinds of stuff. I would be very grateful if you would look into this and give some advice by returning an email. Oh, email. I don't know. I don't do emails. Maybe they do. But it's enough to say that I would do the eye wash. That's for sure, twice a day, morning and night. I'd probably get, I've got some, it's called Visioplex. It's a complex, it's got some vitamins in there, some vitamins, bilberry big time, raw eye tissue. Might give you a little help, but the big issue is detox your head area. Get your sinuses draining, get everything moving. That means you've got to clean down below here. You got to get your kidneys filtering, you got to go in the GI tract, get that moving and cleaned properly, and get your body cleaned up. Because this can be some serious stuff, you know, and then you've got the optic nerve and all that. So, yeah, I'd be really careful with that. But remember, most of these conditions of all types are in the presence of acidosis. You know, what's interesting is, and we can say simplistically, that you can put this whole mirage of diseases and problems almost rested on the laurels of acidosis. It's just different tissue, different places of the body, the genetic weaknesses. You're going to have more problems in those areas than your other areas. Your stronger genetic tissue is always going to withstand better. You're going to have a better filtration of blood and lymph. Jensen was a big thinker of that. And genetic tissue, of course, is weaker. So therefore, you're going to have a more compromised blood and lymph flow. Therefore, those areas are going to come up first. When you go on chemo or radiation, that's what we see all the time. All those weaker areas of your body, bam, they're going. You're going to destroy those areas. You know, the weaker cells can't handle the acid burn like a stronger cell. I mean, believe it or not, it is that simple. You can get into medical thinking, but you'll get lost just like they are. So don't get lost. Keep it all simple. Keep your life simple. Keep all these conditions that they name at all these various levels, keep all that simple. If not, you'll get lost. And there's so many people in here that come in here that get so lost because they've been to so many medical doctors. Got one sitting in there right now, fibromyalgia. And been to a lot of medical doctors. Cleveland Clinic, of course, Mayo Clinic, no help at all. Of course, they don't understand. So they gave her a little sulfur to help heal a wound. I love the tools that the medical doctors use, you guys got to change them. Wrong tools. Okay, all the good tools, but I mean tools like pharmaceuticals and things like sulfur, so you got to rethink all that. As soon as they put it on her skin, she went into an anaphylactic shock because she's so full of sulfur. No one could help her until we just did an eye scan. She's so full of sulfur, it's not even funny. And almost all RA cases, there's always sulfur involved, or fibromyalgia, Lyme's lupus. Take a look at the sulfurs. Always seem to be high sulfurs there. Let me see here. I don't want to read something I'm not supposed to. Let me see. This is Sonja. Subject, ask a YouTube question. Okay, message. I have been prescribed methadone, 30 milligrams a day, taking 10 milligrams 3 times a day. I want to come off. I'm not on any other medications. I know these are messing up my adrenals and body and mind. Yeah. How do I best help myself? Help my fatigue system, my body, mind is fogged out from medication and feels cluttered. Yeah, it does. I know how that is. I'm afraid because I've experienced bad bouts of depression over the past 30 years and suicidal thoughts. God, I hate that. I've listened to your videos and ordered herbs from you in the past. Please help me be free of this. Well, I think you're on the right course, of course, detoxifying, because first of all, remember, detoxification is also tissue regeneration. They're intimately locked together. You can't get one without the other, to be honest with you. All these people try to regenerate their body in an acidic medium. When your body's acidic, there's no regeneration, or it's real slow, and you're really pumping stuff in there, and it really isn't effective. The best effective way of rebuilding the human body from anything whatsoever is always detoxification. That is a golden key of nature that unlocks the mystery of man's problems, because it allows you to change your diet long enough to realize your diet was the problem. Your lifestyle is the problem. And that set up the whole world of genetics and everything else. We can make complicated matter out of it. What it does is it keeps souls lost. And also the blowback, karmatic blowback from some of these treatment-based stuff is not good for the souls involved. And when you're in an unconscious area, and of course we're all unconscious at one level or another, but scary stuff, what you create and don't realize it. And then you experience it in some other lifetime, wondering why you're going through something, and you don't have a clear picture of why you are, because it's stuck back in another lifetime or two. So some of that your only way you can see that is get out of the body, or have your holy or spiritual guide take you to the Akashic Records and take a look. Take a look. I'm afraid I've experienced bad bouts of depression. Well, first of all, the depression for me is always parathyroid. So I would go after that parathyroid with a glandular and take either superfood blend like 2 or 1, either one. They're both extremely high in calcium, the proper bioavailable calcium, of course, interlocked with all its other buddies. And then you've got, or you can do a bones formula or something. But I tell you, you've got to get all this inflammation out of here and get into that parathyroid gland. For the parathyroid gland to be down, there is a possibility that the pituitary could be down with it. The thyroid itself could be down with it. So take a look, kind of correlate your problems. I think on the club site there's a copy of for the counselors here, a copy of your questionnaire. Get that questionnaire and fill it out and take a look at that and see where you fit. We tried to put the questions under the tissues that are involved. But just remember, no matter what you see and which part of the body you're in, detoxification takes your feet away from acidosis, away from the foods and chemistry that's breaking your body down, creating inflammation, breaking down the kidneys, ravishing the bowels. And so it basically flips you right back to the natural food your body's designed to eat, fruit. This is why this lady wrote this book on fruitarianism. When you start reading more about fruitarianism, you start realizing that is the natural food of man. That was Carrington, I think, that wrote the Natural Food of Man, wasn't it, or one of them? That's enough to say that you can do vegetables, who cares? But to get up into these high levels of detoxification, because some of you are hurting, when you have all the sulfurs, your body's locked. You've been acidic so long, it's just you're locked. You've got to open up the doors, and it just takes a while. Just because it takes a while to get well doesn't mean that there's fallacy in what you're doing. It means it takes a while to get well. You've got spaces around every cell, and you've got how many? Roughly 100 trillion, they claim now. I don't know. It was 80 trillion roughly when I went to school, and now it's 100 trillion. So, I don't know. We find more out, like the lymphatic system and all that. But I would definitely get in and detoxify, get myself on the parathyroid glandular. At the same time, you mentioned here enough, I do upper circuit brain and nerve. Start getting more blood upstairs, getting more brain and nerve to empower. This one client of mine totally got rid of her nerve rings in her eyes with brain and nerve. But she totally got rid of her nerve rings. I couldn't believe it. That was pretty cool. I've never seen too many people do that. And she did that. It was pretty good. So, I mean, this is good stuff. Some of you guys are really getting into the body and regenerating, incredibly so. And some of you have, some work to do on yourselves, and don't feel bad about that. It's all the journey. And make it a pleasant, fun journey, because make this your spirituality as well. Make this a whole new world in your life. Open a whole door to a new world in your life. Just forget about the old life and totally go into new. It's like when you take on something new, like this level of healing, take it on completely. Don't carry all the past with you. That's what people do. They carry this albatross called allopathy with them. And it's like, they never worked for anybody. Doesn't work for anybody mainly. I mean, surgeries and stuff, but that's not what we're talking about, is it? We're talking about general health care. And it doesn't work because it's totally wrong. So when you have something totally wrong and it doesn't work, you don't keep carrying it around with you. You drop it and look for something else. And that's what I mean. Everyone, we have to lift up our consciousness on this planet. We're going around in circles. Man is just kind of lost and going around in circles. We've got to get beyond that mind and get ourselves happy and enjoying life again. And you're the only one that can do that. And you can't let the negative forces get you. You've got to be strong in the self. That's why you need to be alone sometimes with yourself. Find yourself a place where you can I'm back here where the bathrooms are. But find yourself where you can be totally alone. And dig on yourself. Because you're beautiful, each and every one of you. Each and every one of you come out of that pure consciousness of God. Just because we have bodies that have been karmic and all this stuff and no one taught us how to eat and stuff, that's because we're in worlds of unconsciousness and low worlds. And this world is very low in matter. Low in terms of that way. But get into that body and rebuild that. And you can titrate off of that if you have a need to. But you want to go on a parathyroid, I'd pick up my adrenals. I'd probably, if you're really low with the anxiety and stuff, I'd probably hit the 400 milligrams 3 times a day is what I would do for my adrenal glands. I'd go after my kidneys, I'd go after my lymph system, and I also would probably go after my fungus a little bit. Fungus can also give you that kind of cloudy mental look. So go after that. If you can get on the kits, get on the first kit, get going, open up the liver, just open up your body and start moving it, start cleaning it, start alkalizing it. And it's just like a breath of fresh air and the sun blowing on you. Beautiful stuff. Dr. Morse, I thought I'd write you to the YouTube first before attempting to schedule a one-on-one appointment. I am the college professor that wrote in recently. I'm currently in the hospital. Oh, man. After falling while rock climbing? Oh, my God. Oh, that's horrible. You fell rock climbing? I have shattered the distal ends of both of my tibia and fibula. Oh, my God, man. Okay, bro. First thing you want to do, though, I would grab the parathyroid glandular, and I would grab the bones formula or the superfood blend. And I would take off on 2 bottles of that. I would probably pump in some green drinks. Definitely pump the superfood blend and get my body alkaline, make sure my adrenals are up, I got good steroids and stuff, and you'll accelerate rebuild. Go total raw. You can do both fruits, berries, melons, and salads with some green drinks even. And Professor, you'll be able to regenerate this at a fast pace. Make sure you get that parathyroid going up there just a little bit to help you there. I have had surgery so that an external fixator, but this will help to heal this rapidly, can put the bones back in the right position. And what's cool is the body will also help to do this too. This is good stuff. I will be getting another surgery in a few days with his ankle specialist so that they can hopefully put my bones back together. You poor guy. Oh my God, man. The surgeon described this fracture as severe, but the body will heal it, bro. And that's the thing. I would definitely, you want to get on the base side of chemistry now. You want to be all raw and do these things, and you'll see a regeneration like nobody's business. Even if you had multiple fractures. I'm reaching out to you because I am 100% committed to healing my ankle. I would too. I am determined to return the same activities I was doing. You absolutely will. Absolutely you will. But you got to do it in an alkaline medium. That's your calcium. That's your base. And you want to pick up that parathyroid just in case you have a little weakness that no one knows about. It'll also help pick up the utilization of calcium and help accelerate that. You could also get that Heal All salve and salve that ankle up and let that absorb in there, because you have anti-inflammatories all over the place in the salve, and then you got comfrey, which is accelerated bone knit bone. So you've got some good herbs in there to help accelerate that, and so I would do that. I'm currently taking the following herbal formulas: kidneys and adrenals, upper circ, brain and nerve, liver, gallbladder, stomach, and bowel, bones. For perfect. Female reproductive, pituitary, endocrine gland, parasite in, parasite T, also ordered adrenal and pituitary glandulars. Think about the parathyroid, though. On the pituitary glandulars, though, I'd only use one bottle, honey, because, man, that's strong. My history: 41-year-old female, hypothyroidism, diagnosed at age 11. You might be right about that pituitary. Look at that, Professor, and see what you see on that, especially in your eye there to see it. Irregular menstrual. There you go. Man, you were right on, honey. Irregular menstrual cycle. That's pituitary. Thinning hair and bruising easy. Now, that's your parathyroid. Bruising easy is parathyroid, and this is just what you need to get for these fractured ankles. Now, tripping up the pituitary will have its trip up on the parathyroid, too. And I think it's essential that you went to the pituitary first, because that's where you're having the trouble going back at 11 years old. So, absolutely. The hair thinning, of course, that's going to be acidosis upstairs. Because the question is, why is my pituitary down? Yeah, we know that it's down now. And that's the beautiful thing about you guys. You're able to look at what tissues in the body you're having trouble with. That's number one. Number two, why? And you're going to go right back to chemistry again, because we're in that world right now. So you're going to go right back to chemistry, two sides to chemistry. And what side, of course, causes all this? And, of course, it's the acid side. The bruising easy is, these two things don't point to parathyroid, and of course, you got thyroid, parathyroid, and pituitary. So I would still add that parathyroid there because of the fractures. And I would do probably 2 bottles of that, but I only do 1 bottle of pituitary. That pituitary doesn't need much of a kick, boy. I tell you, these glandules are strong. I noticed a lot of bleeding and leaking from the site where the open fracture was on my ankle, losing blood easily. Yeah. You know what? I know you anyway. You know I know you. So you might want to flip me your blood work. And let me take a look at that and see. But she's 5'4". So that's a little under. So you know there's the pituitary, the irregular menstruals. That's the pituitary. So good catch on your diagnosis. Good catch. Later bloomer. I went through puberty at 18 years of age. Currently taking synthetic T3 and T4 to. Oh, look at that. Well, you know why? A return to Shannon. Well, I don't have any pens. Well, because your TSHs, they're trying to regulate both sides. You can't do it because they're not thinking about pituitary. You know, your TSH is off, and that's the one you got to work with. See, sometimes medical doctors get TSH and they just totally forget about the pituitary. And so I think you're right on spot here. And add these few things with this, honey, and you'll be doing good. Get that parathyroid in there. Then what you could do, see where your thyroid balances out, because you're going to have to titrate or get off of one of these, and pretty soon get off of 2 of them, because you can use a glandular. You can use a glandular for all this to get yourself back to Wellville off of these synthetic hormones. And that is a better way to do it, because using the synthetic hormones will only cause the thyroid to get weaker. Now you're affecting the thyroid, when up here the pituitary is affecting. You could have a thyroid weakness genetically, no question. But we also know your pituitary is sitting down on that baby. Well, it has to sit down at the TSH. So you have to take a look at that and see how that's doing that way, because sometimes they give you this and you don't even need it. But be glad to help you with that, sweetheart. But yeah, get on that and do that. That's ooh. Ouch. That's horrible. Rock climbing, huh? Dry scalp. Bryan here. I think this is the anatomy and physiology professor, and I thought the new lymphatic systems were interesting. How about you, Professor? So what does that tell you? How many more lymphatic systems didn't they find that connects the kidneys to everything? You're going to find it at the base of the triangle at the spine, because the top, dealing with the cerebral spinal fluid, you have to have something at the bottom, right? And that's that triangle. So that's that lower back where you always see all those lower vertebrae, kidneys, ovaries, prostates, bladders, all of those are tied to those lower vertebrae. And so, just something to think about, Hope you get better quicker. Bryan here. I am practicing mostly raw foods 100% of the time. The past couple of months, going fantastic. Yeah, Bryan. But I am noticing one problem that hasn't really left me, and that is my embarrassing, dry, itchy, flaky scalp. Yeah, we need that to leave you, because that's scary. That's all acidosis up in the head area, and it's like, I don't like that. Well, you got to get it. Topically, you can do hot and cold applications and all of that kind of stuff. Hydrotherapy is good, helpful that way, but this is internal. This is all internal, and this means you're not filtering down below in the kidneys, and everything's oozing out. And of course, all that dry and all that is all acidosis. So you're getting dehydrated, not only in the scalp, but then you lose your hair, and then it'll start turning white and all that kind of crap. From my own knowledge, I would think it's hydration. Oh, you guys are smart. I love you guys. I love you guys. You guys are really getting smart and getting it, and nobody going to lie to you or fool you guys. I love that. It's enough of that going on already. Yeah, if you're dehydrated up there, and it's all about acidosis, and some sort of repairing. Also consuming more anti-inflammatory foods. Well, you're on the raw, and all raw is anti-inflammatory, because inflammatory means acidosis. And all your raw fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables are base predominantly. You have some acids and stuff, but most of these break down into base chemistry in the final analysis. That's enough to say, though, you're on that already. I'd kick it up to the fruit and dig deeper into a detox. Get my kidneys filtering, get my adrenals up, get my kidneys filtering, get my bowels cleaned out, start draining. You might have to dig a little deeper in your world to get this fixed, because there's nothing you can do. You can do your hot and cold, and you can do your brushing and everything like that, but how does that get rid of acids inside, interstitially? It don't. That's the point. The problem still persists even on a perfect fruit day. For me, citrus melon, citrus 2 to 3 gallons of pure water. What is going on here? You're not getting deep enough into your detox journey. Put your eyes. Get a picture of your eyes, Bryan. Take a look at it and see what your head looks like. You might have might surprise you. Might have a lot of lymphatic stuff going on there. So this is real important to fix that. I need to go say one thing to this lady too. Now, this is, I can't see a name here. Name, Alexandra. Hi, Alexandra. Attention, bloating and constipation. Subject asked, Dr. Morse, I would first like to start off by saying how amazing I think you are. Oh, well, I love you too, baby. Thank you so much for that. And to thank you for opening my eyes to the right way of healing. Thanks, honey. Appreciate that. Well, come join us, because, there's a lot of good people following this level now. All you guys are such good folk, but we needed to meet, and we needed to get this journey done, because this planet needs to come up just a little bit. Holy crap. Now, I have been raw now, eating primary fruit for 3 months now. Dang good, man. At first, digestion was great. I was going after each meal in the morning and sometimes even before bed, and I never felt bloated. I just recently have been bloating in the bottom half of my stomach and constipation. I feel heavy and hardly have an appetite. Please help. Well, again, get a picture of your eyes, because you're looking at a couple of things. One, peristalsis is a neurological event, and the adrenal glands are a prime role player. So you want to make sure your blood pressure, if it's real low, your neurotransmitters are low. Top number, systolic, adrenal glands. So if your systolic blood pressure is below, say, 120, 118, you got low blood pressure. Well, the lower that goes. Now, your bottom number needs to be 60 to 70. What if you had 120 over 85? Now wait a minute, that bottom needs to be about 60. So 85 is about 25 points too high. Take that 25 off of 120, where are you? 95. So give yourself 100 points, low blood pressure. See what I mean? Because when I fix the kidneys and that diastolic goes down to where it should be, so will the top number. It'll come down with it. Well, wait a minute, you're already perfect with that number at 120. You see where I'm going with that? When you check your blood pressures and stuff like that, you have to consider the bottom number and how it's affecting the top number. And if the top number is within 120, which is textbook, and your bottom is above 70, that's all high blood pressures, then you have to start subtracting, because pressures is pressures. Now, so you've got that to think about. So I would get on my adrenals and work on my adrenal glands. Number 2, interstitial lymphatic constipation. That means you're not filtering from your kidneys. In the wall of your GI tract, your lymph has gotten stagnant. And stagnation of lymph means what? Dehydration. And dehydration of a fluid means things are getting hardened. Tighter and hardened. You know, stiff and tight, but in the wall of your bowel making peristalsis even harder, and you can have both of these problems. And here comes the third zinger, sulfur. Sulfur, bad. That's orange around the pupil, and sulfur is not a bowel friend. So now you're going to have flip, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gassy, especially if you're pulling it out. Now, you could have pancreatic weakness too on top of that, get digested, bloating from the fruits, but yeah, this could be more neurological, more interstitial, that sort of thing. That's why I like your eyes. Now, you come in, we're going to fix all those things. But if you have your eyes, you can have a view, call it an intellectual view or a conscious view. You have a view of your body a little better, and you can have a good idea maybe which one it is. But almost everybody's got to work on their kidney and adrenals. I'm going to say everybody. Then that's a lymph system. That deals with malabsorption, interstitial lymphatic constipation, hardening of the bowel wall, stuff like that. And then you've got the sulfurs and that sort of thing. So you work on all those things and get your health back. I would, because your eyes will show you here where you're going wrong there, or what's going on. But your diet is good, perfect, and you could be pulling old stuff out too. So you just have to see. I'd get on if you can afford the herbs, go on some kits for a while to, whatever you can afford, and get into the body a little bit with some herbs and get some stuff done, because the herbs make all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Once you start using herbs, you become an herb lover. You start to go, oh my God. Some people just can't stop taking them. They're that good. And it's just, they are good. They're our little remedy, and they're mostly base, and they're mostly healers. Nothing's cooked, so everything is nutritional. So it's just all good stuff. You got so many good things to get yourself well with. This is Edward. Hey, Edward. Let's see. Hi, Dr. Morse. About 2 years ago, I took a strong course of antibiotics for an infection I never had. Yep. What are the best steps for me to return my gut to normal and offset my potential damage done? Well, like I said, I was a custom home builder for a number of years, trying to make money on the side, because this doesn't pay much. So I always put in new septic tanks. And when you talk to other builders and stuff, they always talk about seeding their septic tanks and stuff. And I say, I've never seeded my septic tanks. The thing is, people bitch, but you can't keep nature out. And why are we trying? Just like you said, they gave you antibiotics for an infection. You know what's infectious? It's acidosis. When you stop and look and someone says you have infection, just stop a minute and think this out, what it is. You have cells and 2 fluids. Your cells aren't infectious. Matter of fact, by the time your cell gets acidic, that's when you start mutating that puppy. That's when you start walking toward the C-word side of the medical world and deterioration in our world. So, that's just, So, I don't know, let's see here. I would just detox and let my body seat the bacteria designed for the food that I'm eating. Because as we change food, each food seems to have its own bacteria or something. Everything seems to have its own. You got bacteria for iron breakdown. You got bacteria for all kinds of stuff. Rust is a bacterial involvement. You got all kinds of stuff. And it's just life breaking itself down. You got birth, life, and death. This cycle over and over and over again. Our bodies are all going through it. We're not. Consciousness doesn't go through duality. But our bodies do, so we're having to view from our conscious selves through these bodies that restrict our awareness of our conscious self. So pretty soon, we're thinking we're the physical body, we lose perspective of who we really are. This is why meditation was formed, and contemplation, and basically probably prayer as well, except we tend to use prayer for begging, but truthfully, it's about listening and quieting and allowing ourselves to know and see more, because we're of that which is all life. That's why we can see more when we quiet Mr. Mind. Remember, Mr. Mind wants dominance. But there's an old saying, remember? Mind makes a great slave, but a lousy master. All right, so that's what I would do, and I wouldn't worry about it. But next time you get what you think is an infection, just simply detox yourself. And you can always use, if you're worried about bacterias and virals and stuff, there's plenty of herbs for antibiotics, antivirals, but antifungals, wrong focus. If there was any focus at all, it would be too much fungus in people. Not bacteria, fungus. People are loaded with it because we're starch eaters. We're sugar eaters. Not natural sugars. I'm talking about refined sugars. We're freaks with that. Well, body can't deal with that level of sugar like our body can't deal with proteins. Our body can't deal with complex chemistry. We've got to face that. We've been taught wrong. And I tell you, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a medical doctor, and he was telling about how him and a bunch of medical doctors, and they were all talking how protein is good for you and everything. It's like delusional thinking. Kelvin, I'm all in. All right. Hi, my name is Kelvin from BC, Canada, British Columbia. Wow, I've got a lot of friends up in BC. You know, who else is up there? I don't know if that's where you are up there. But you've got Mark Twain. He's up there. I don't know if you guys know him up there in BC. I think that's his party town. Mark Twain. So with the last name of Twain, what do you think? Yeah. Funny he's the Mark. Wow, it is really great to see truth. Oh, thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I just try. I've tried all my life to seek nothing but the truth of things. But there's a lot of people that can't stomach truth. You notice that? Particularly in governments and stuff. Funny. But, you know, that's all life should be, but nothing but truth. Whatever it is, it is. Truth is truth, you know. But we just, the illusion of creation, you know, and what one can do and play down here. You can only have an open mind and try different things, and I agree. And this is the way people should be. You know, some people are so close-minded, they don't want to try anything. It's like, what? You know, when something isn't working, when you go to 10 medical doctors, you think that's enough? Or you go to 5 medical doctors, none of them knows what it is. You think that's enough? You know, what's enough is enough when no one can help you, and how long you're going to live with your pain and suffering. Look around. Open your mind. Open yourself up. It's really not opening your mind. It's shut your mind up and open up your awareness. Oh, you're right on there, Calvin. Oh, I like this guy. And try to educate yourself. That's just what you got to do out there. It's just what you're trying to do. Good man. I started on a fasting and mono diet around 21. I guess this guy was 21. He started doing that. That's cool. That's about what I was. I was 20, 21. Oh, that's a good age to get into this and tear it up. And by the time you get my age, you'll really know what's up. And then got pulled off the track into vegetarianism with all its starches and proteins. Yeah. You know, the medical used to laugh at all the vegetarians because they said, oh, they're sicker than the meat eaters. It's only because they left off the meat, but they went to the wrong type of proteins. They went to the beans, the grains, and crap like that. Exactly. You know, and this is just as bad as the other. You know, you're right on with that. Eventually, I got into meat eating again. As my body started to age, I was trying to do things to help. This included drinking my own urine over a year period off and on. I probably acidified my body even more. Yeah. If you're going to drink your own urine, pray you're not filtering. Pray you're not filtering. Drink water, okay, but don't drink your own urine. Oh, yuck. Even the survival man will tell you that. They got this guy now, he's from Afghanistan. I don't really like him at all. But the Indian guy, and then you had the Navy SEAL guy or the other guy, not this one from Afghanistan, but the older guy. I liked him. And this younger guy from Afghanistan, he's going to drink his own urine. This guy's going, no, that's the biggest no-no out there. And the same thing as salt water. Yeah, you don't do stuff like that. Okay, so now I am fasting and on a fruitarian diet. Yeah, now you're home, son. Now you're home. I am not trying to be as regimented as I was. Well, that's okay. Walk with balance. That's okay with me. I like walking with balance. But you're right in where you need to be now, as I was. But I am still fairly strict. And that's where I'm at. That's about where I'm at. We go through, we cycle out, we do that because remember, when you're alone and you discover this, you guys can flip to these channels. You can there's a lot of raw food books. There's groups of you guys everywhere now. There's Facebook sites. When I started this, there was no one anywhere. Most of these guys had already died. Oh, there was, Fry, I think, was still living. Fry was still living, definitely. NW was still living when I was there. Of course, Jensen and that sort of thing. But some of the guys, Carrington, those guys, they were all gone, of course. And so we're all alone. And thank God for the Natural Hygienic Society, because they at least had fasting centers that you could go and either fast or at least buy books on raw. Most of those were the old Carringtons and Tiltons and, those sort of things. But those guys were pace setters, and a lot of them were medical doctors, and they were pace setters. You could even look at Harvey Kellogg, even though yogurt enemas and stuff like that, but, you could look to that. Remember that Anthony Hopkins playing Harvey Kellogg, the health nut? Yeah. Okay, so now, all right, I want to be involved with this type of healing. It's a great level. It's just a great level. I see people that when I was younger and I didn't realize this level, I was like, oh my God, they're emaciated, they're poor souls, they're about dead. Now I see them regenerate everything. I've regenerated some of the worst looking people on the planet. And it's amazing how the body will regenerate no matter how low you're down. So it's exciting. This is an exciting level to be at because your spiritual doors are opening too. And that's a happy thing. Because we're so caught in grooves of emotions and thoughts, and it's just not fun here anymore. And governments don't make it fun. They've gotten corrupt. Everything's gotten corrupt. It's because we've succumbed to the negative side. So we as the spiritual ones must emanate the beauty and love. There's strength in that, and there's love and peace in that. You got all levels. But it's time that this planet give a little shot of love juice. We got to quit fighting each other because you can't win that way. You can't win that way. You can only win in raising your consciousness and helping others too. Because when you raise your consciousness, you see where you were, you're, oh no, and you change. It's hard to change in the same consciousness you are right now. But when you lift up and you see where you're going wrong or you were taught wrong, then you can change. And that's the beauty of spirituality. And spirituality just means that you're controlling your mind more. You're not following your thoughts like you were. You're letting your thoughts go on their own direction while you stay home. You bring me back what I want. Send your mind off to get what you want. It's a body just like this one. It'll go seek for you, and if you're listening, it'll come back with the answer for you. If you follow it, then your consciousness has followed it, and you've lost the 360 again. So just think about those things like that. That's what true prayer and contemplation and meditation is about, is quieting that mind. Let's see here now. Originally, I went to a health retreat to learn healing modalities, interrupted by life and family, but am ready to learn again. Sounds like a man on the move. I would like to get some kind of certificate and proper background to really help people. This means like the method and its simplicity is beautiful. I am 55 now, and I intend to be around for a while. Become a healer, dude. Sounds like it's just your profession. You've got enough balance to be able to teach balance. A good healer's balanced. Because anybody can run your way up into fruitarianism, but you got to be careful. You know, run balance is so much better. But sometimes you got to tear it up and get up there. You know, sometimes you got to do your 40-day fasts and stuff like that. So what? You're not fasting actually. You're eating, but it's just like a mono food or something. But you're still eating. But you're eating the highest energetic foods on the planet, the highest nutritional foods on the planet. Beans, grains, dead animals? None of that's nutritious. Living fruit and berries and veggies from earth? Now that's nutritious. So I am looking for some advice and direction on how to fulfill this using the information provided by Dr. Oh, thanks, man. So happy to learn about this. You should, because simplicity is great. And simplicity keeps you open for having fun and not so locked in and can't figure out things and, you know, lost in modalities that are lost themselves. So yeah, this would be a good place for you to get yourself and start becoming a healer. Start working with others. You've been through it. You've been up and down. You know what works and what doesn't work because you're back again. And that's okay because that's how I've been there. I've come completely off, come back because no one around to help pull me back. I had to pull myself back. You know, and that's the point. You get strong within the self. And that's what's needed for the future and needed for your happiness because you don't let anybody control you. Or anybody tell you what to do. You're your own individual here. We elect our governments to help us, not control us, or to police us. If I was controlling things, I would take all the police off of all the cop cars. We're not being policed. That's against the law. We're not being policed here. That's a horrible thought. But for you Americans, you are being policed. You have to realize that. You're being policed by everyone. The locals, the governments, the Homeland Security, they're listening in on your conversations. You know that already. Notice you don't hear about what's his name anymore? I'm telling you, this government is bad. And in Social Security, they know what car you're driving. They know when you trade. They know everything about you. Now, is that what we want to live? Is that what God put humans on the planet to do? Is to have people over you that know everything? This is how bad. They've succumbed to the mind and negative forces. This is bad karma for those poor souls that are involved there. If anything, those people need to learn how to get unconstipated and open consciousness up. And because what you give out, you get back. Because from one way of looking at this, we talk about diseases and all this kind of crap and stuff. This is nothing but cause and effect. If you look at this, nothing is but cause and effect. That runs everything on this planet, everything in this physical universe, everything in all creation. Cause and effect. What goes out comes back. So it's just all that way. You reap what you sow, call it karma, call it whatever you want. But it's real. And you have to know that and protect yourself from it. So whatever you want coming back to you, that's what you want to start giving. You want love and tenderness and romance? Give it. I'm willing to come down there for a visit. Going to have to save up. You don't have to come down and spend your money. We got Skype nowadays. We got phone services. I'm not really seeing too many people anymore, but I've got too many things to do. But we've got the lovely staff. You guys got to love our counselors and stuff. Smart, and these guys are both smart as heck. They can help. We've taught them. They pull you out of anything. Both of them has pulled some of the worst cases out. I wasn't that lucky back then. I had to swim in the ocean by myself for a while. So it's good. All of you got good advice. I'm glad to help you. If anything you need, you got working on clients. We want to change this planet because this needs a little elevation here. Going to have to save it, but oh no, thank you, Kevin. Kelvin, thank you very much. I am an electrical contractor. Perhaps we could do some trades. Ooh, my son is too. He's just a journeyman, though. I say just, but he's a journeyman.
Would you be able to answer this one, sir?
Want me to answer this one now? Okay.
Thanks.
All right. What's the time visit?
3:57.
Oh, okay. So about 4:15 or so.
Can get you?
Yeah. Are you gonna put this up tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, Jennifer. Yeah. Let's see what this is here. Names are good. All right. The names are blocked off here. See, watched one of your YouTube videos from Dr. Morse on the lymphatic system and became more concerned about what is going on with me internally and the rest of my organs. You know, right, that is a very powerful statement. And I'll say this, I don't know who this is, but it's enough to say that I'm with you. When I really figured this out, I thought, uh-oh, we're in so much more trouble than what they even know. It's easy to slap a disease name on a set of symptoms and give it your name and say this is the Morse trilogy symptom and whatever, you know, and but it's much more difficult to understand the truth. Yet simplicity always rules. And you're right on. You're right on. When you understand that you have a whole system down, when you have lymphatic problems, scary, scary. The nice thing about it is your body loves to clean and rebuild itself. I don't care how low you get. That's a natural instinct of life, and your body will go there. That's the beauty of this. And some of you have better genes than what you think. You know, you get full of pain and misery, and you're not happy and depressed, and you think, oh, my body's just a piece of crap. Some of you got major genes. It's just you're extremely acidic, and that just destroys everything. It makes you feel everything is being destroyed. I had a really bad infection under my axilla on September 2015 and caused my lymph node to become infected. I didn't take any antibiotics for a month. Came October 1st, couldn't even lift my arm because it hurt so much. So, that's not good because you got an arm and a breast there that feeds out of that. And a whole bunch more. Let me see. My pain went to my my pain went to my breast area on the left side and radiated to the right side of my breast area. So the emergency doc prescribed antibiotics for 2 weeks. Well, it's better they could have cut that lymph node out. You know, so you know you got a kidney filtration problem right off, dear. So that's the one thing you want to go after is go after your kidneys. Filtration, so adrenals and kidneys get the colon cleaned up. The dermatologist then continued my antibiotic for another 2 weeks, total for a month, and a cream for inflammation. See, and the ignorant part of all of that is they're just focusing on the effect. And it's like there's no consideration of the cause. Because if there was consideration of the cause, that's what you would be treating. If you had to use the word treatment, that's what you'd be going after. You wouldn't be going after the effect. You'd be going, what's causing this? We need to deal with that. So that's the failure of that modality. And because they don't understand proper chemistry, they're working on these theories of alkalosis and the need for high proteins and stuff. They're hurting people all over the place. Wrong ideas, wrong philosophies, wrong concepts. Period. Nice machinery, nice diagnostic tools, but you don't need them because you know what the problem is. You can fix everybody up without any diagnosis at all. Let me see here. So remember, the inflammation is a byproduct of what? Acidosis. Proteins. The antibiotics help me some, but all it does is kill your bacteria in your lymph nodes, which is just the very things that you need more of right now. Instead of doing that, they should have just given you a whole bunch of bacteria. Probiotics. Not the kind you get in health foods, but the real gnarly kind. The kind you get in putrefied meat and stuff. The proteolytics. The antibiotics help some, but still. I received a thermography or a thermogram and it showed that there was definitely some activity going on still. Now, on both sides of my lymph nodes, my gyno sent me to get an ultrasound, but it showed that I have a unknown mass under my left axilla area, left arm. Around soft tissue by the other side of the mass, right under my skin, left arm. Had a cyst on my right breast. Well, this is all lymphatic stuff, honey. All lymphatic stuff. Cysts, tumors, stuff like this. So you really got to get your kidneys filtering and get this out of there before you start damaging cells, because then that takes it to the other level for them and you. But no, you've got to do the same no matter what. You would do the same if you had a full-fledged breast cancer, or whether you just had your axillary lymph nodes inflamed, or you had fibrocystic breast, or you had calcification. You're going to do the same exact thing because they're all caused from the same exact thing. Right. Sit up there. Okay. Now, up to now, I have seen an infectious disease doctor, and she says that my blood is clear and doesn't know what else to do for me. You see how stupid that is? This medical doctor, now this is a sweet medical doctor. She at least told you she didn't know what else to do. Your blood's clear. Get away from blood-focusing medical doctors. Get to the lymphatic system. There's where all your answers are. There's where all your answers are. There's where all your autoimmune answers are. That's where all your answers are. Go to that lymph system and go to acidosis, and all your answers will be right there. We got a lot of medical doctors that have changed, and now they're curing people right and left. Remember I told you about the Canadian medical doctor who came down and gave me a big hug, said he just cured a lymphedema case, and he said, we don't cure lymphedema. Because he understood the lymph nodes, the kidneys, and all of that. He understood the lymph system. He worked on his patient's lymph system, cleaned him up. His lymphedema was gone, and he's going, wow. See, that's what makes a believer out of people, when you start curing cases. And for you medical doctors and for all you naturopaths, when you start at these higher levels, that's when you start getting a smile on your face, because you're regenerating humans all over the place. And that's fulfilling. Because suffering isn't fulfilling. It isn't fulfilling to be a practitioner and you can't help anybody. Why are you a practitioner for? My lymph nodes have become even more inflamed under my left axilla, elbow area, and above my wrist, and so up to my left ear, behind the ear. Yeah, see, it's all just going to back up into the head and everything else, and this all acidosis, so there is nothing good about what you're saying here. Get on a fruit diet. Matter of fact, go on a grape fast for 10 days right now. As soon as you get this, go on a grape fast for 10 days. But I would definitely get on the kits. You know, and get in my kidneys, my adrenals, get in my bowels, get in my lymph system, and start moving it, baby. Because you're starting to back up big time. No! You're going to get yourself in trouble here. You can physically see them too. I can barely hear from my left ear now. I also feel like pain, stinging, heat by my left. Yeah, you're on fire. These are acids. You're burning up. Yeah, we need to get you. Back area that radiates to my ear. Oh my God, honey. I did get an MRI. How many tests do you need to get before you realize what's for somebody who's able to help you? See, that's the point. They're putting you through all these expensive tests, which all have some type of toxicity. Even though ultrasounds are better, but you have dyes if you do the dye, contrast stuff. You've got if you don't do digital x-rays now, you're getting burnt from that. So you've got, what kind do you need to know? This is all lymphatic. You only need to know that one system's down, and this is the sign of that. You don't need a test to show you that. Save yourself money and your insurance company. I mean, you see how it's just got everything screwed up. So now insurance premiums are high, everybody can't afford insurance, blah, 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 screwed everything up. Now we're here to free that and to have a whole new way where it frees up the economics of people. Holy crap, and gives power back to the people, baby. Look at the guy running for the mayor of Chicago. I hope he gets it. And it gives a little warning about this is the future coming. You can't elect people that have no idea what life is in the city, so to speak. You know what I mean? You can't have rich people running everything. can't do it. They're out of touch. I had a couple guys with me one time. They approached me to create a soberizer, a formula that would sober you up in a bar so you could drive home safely. And I did come up with a good formula. But this one guy was kind of a God guy. He used to be able to make things happen with his mind. If he saw someone walking down the stairs, if he thought you would fall, you would fall. So he got real scared, and he went into Jesus and Christianity, and then he came out more of a psychic guy. And you got to be careful with all these things, you know. Where I was going that with you. I was going to take you somewhere with that. I apologize there. But went away. And also hurt when I was pregnant, breastfeeding, but would come and go. So it's enough to say that you were pregnant and breastfeeding while your lymph system was bad. That's a problem for the baby. You know, so know your baby is going to have weak kidneys and adrenals, and you know the lymph system is going to be yours, so you know your baby is going to have lymphatic problems. So, you know, your baby needs to go into a fruit baby and coconut stuff, you know that. This time since I cut a skin tag under the axilla. Well, you know what? Think about this. What you have is sewage not going anyplace, so it's rotting in your lymph nodes. So now you're going to have little skin tags, which is nothing but parasites. They're going to start, you're calling, come in, come in. I've got putrefaction, the odors are going out to nature, and nature's responding. So you're going to have fungus growing in here, bacteria trying to get in here. They're just trying to help you. We can kill them, but that would leave your sewage with no one helping to get rid of it, wouldn't it? That's what antibiotic use does. Suppresses the lymph system and kills the bacteria that you need. No thought about the sewage itself. That's where you guys have to learn this and get that, and you are, from what I can see, and that'll make all the difference in your world, in every level you can imagine. Okay, by this time I cut a skin tag. You get moles, and the same thing if people grow moles all over them, and warts and things like this. You know, you're just a cesspool. Our bodies become cesspools and grows all these fungi on it. It's because we're dying inside. These are proteins that putrefy and stink. Nasty stuff. But that's what our society wants us to eat. Let me see here. That it hurts and that going away just hurting, showing. Let me see where I'm at here. I am taking supplements and medication for my thyroid. Well, the same lymph system is breaking down your thyroid too, dear. I mean, you can't fix your thyroid until you fix your lymph system. I mean, you can build it, you can pop it up and make it work okay, but you really want to get it, you'll start getting nodules in your thyroid. You know, and cysts, tumors on them, stuff like this. I can't sleep because of the pain. I am taking supplements and medication for my thyroid. I have hypo, obviously. I also have pain under my right breast, just below the rib. If I press on it, it hurts. You have extreme acidosis, honey. And of course, your nervous system doesn't like acidosis, does it? It has been hurting like that for 1 year. Oh my God, it's time I hope you listen to this and you get going, because you're waiting. A year is enough. You know, you want to get going before things really get damaged in there. I also have pain under my, let me see, below the rib. Let's see, it has been hurting like that for 1.5 years under my rib. Ugh. I have had an eye exam by a naturopath already, but have this issue with my lymph nodes that doesn't seem to be getting better. If your naturopath gave you an eye exam, how come he hasn't put you on the path of getting your lymph nodes cleaned out and everything? Could it be that your naturopath was taught medically? He doesn't have a clue about kidneys and filtration of the lymph? Could it be? I have had let me see here. I had a lymph drain, and it helps a little bit, and then comes back. Lymph drainage will never do it. You're not filtering in your kidneys, dear one. And as long as you're not filtering in your kidneys, there's nothing you can do. I mean, you can take oils. You know, you can take a bunch of oils as anti-inflammatories, get some hemp oil or evening primrose or flax or whatever. But you really got to fix this, because you're in trouble. And this is nothing good comes here, honey. You start getting tumors in the head and on the neck, and you don't want to know how medical doctors treat those. You don't want to know how you look. You know, I have a lot of people that are very, very sorry right now they left me. And a couple of them don't worry about it anymore. They're already under the ground. But there's a couple of real famous people that don't have a position anymore because they didn't listen. And so you don't want anybody messing with this. So I wanted to know if the doctor can help me. We can all help you, honey. Real easy. Real easy. You want to get on this kit, and you want to get on it tomorrow. Now, Chris won't get this up till tomorrow, but maybe I'll have him give you a call. Yeah, here's your phone number. I'll see about them giving you a call. Maybe I'll give you a call. Because I have had it. All right, let's see where we are here. Going on my way. Lymph nodes. I am honestly getting very worried and scared that if I wait too long, it may turn to cancer. And that's the smartest thing you've said in this whole thing. You are right, sweetheart. So let's get going on this. You're from El Paso, Texas. Okay. All right. I'm going to do this to Chris. So why don't you just stay down in there if you want to get down that bad? I always thought you were a little too acidic anyway. Get my watermelon over here. I like my watermelon. I'm about out of my navels. Let's do a couple more. Chad. Hey, Chad. Hello once again, Dr. Morse. Thank you for answering my questions in a detailed and clear manner. Oh, thank you, Chad. You sure it was? You're a rare breed. Oh, thanks, my friend. Appreciate it, man. Good man. My question is regarding this. I'm wondering, in your opinion, why the Japanese, for example, have the second longest average lifespans ahead of Canada. Well, I don't know how Canada does. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure I concur with all that. When I look at the islanders out here, and Japan is an island basically, I see nothing but very good health. And that's even if they do fish eating. That's because their diet has a lot of fruits and veggies in it. And I think that's been the answer of all your longevity people. I don't know where you're seeing that in Canada at, but I can tell you that the islanders here, I don't see that in the Canadians we get. Maybe that's some study up there, but I'll be honest with you, in the islanders, we see this all the time. We get, islanders are in their 90s and 100s all the time, and they don't look it. They don't even come close to looking at it. So I think that if you looked at this, if you were a person that had a lot of fruit and vegetables and some dead animals in your diet, you're going to live a long time. You're going to do well, especially if you have good genes behind you. And that's another thing, is the genes. You know, I think that when you take a look at these diets, and the Chinese and the China studies and stuff, you know, you see less acid diets. That's all I have to say, more or less acid diets. Less dairy, less proteins, although you do see more proteins. They still have them. Those societies that are the longest lived, of course, you're always going to see less meat eating, less dairy products, always, always. Especially when you see more vegetables and fruits added into that, always, absolutely. So I think that's why myself. But I've seen a lot of microbiotics, but the practitioners of the art. And I've said this because I've spoken to a lot of symposiums in Lisbon, and I can just say that they just don't, there's no look of health, there's no vibrancy of tissue, the skin looks gray and charcoal. If you have to cook your food before you eat it to make it palatable or digestible, don't eat it. Not good for you. That's plain and simple. If you can't eat that food on the spot like it is, it's not good for you. Because we were meant to pick and eat, baby. Pick and eat. So I'm just saying, you know. I've always said, once you get your kidneys filtering, you get your adrenals up, you fix yourself. If you're a person that felt you had to have some dead animal tissue, have a little fish or chicken, but have it with a salad. Have your fruit always in the morning. Maybe your dead animal stuff, protein in the salad at lunch or early afternoon, and then a light supper. You're going to live to 150. There's nothing going to hurt you because you're buffering and everything is good. But you have people around the world who barely eats fruits and barely eats salads. So, you know, it's just that way. And then when you come from a position where your kidneys aren't filtering and you have these genetics and you have this heavy lymph system problems, you got to fix these things. Because it's not just enough to start eating better. You got to go back and fix some things. That's why detoxification exists, because detoxification goes back and fixes what you did that wasn't so good. I forget what they claim it is. Every month of detox cleans 5 years or something, 3 years. I forget what it is. Maybe one of you guys know. But, you know, thank God for every month of detox we can wipe some years off. Instead of for every year we have to detox a year. Oh, that'd be horrible. So thank God. So that's what I'm thinking, Chad. Their diet consists of much rice, fish, soy, tofu, and seaweed, it seems. Yeah, you know, they have their veggies. Well, they do have their fruits and stuff. Absolutely. So I think you see that. Of course, seaweeds are extremely nutritious. So I really think that we've always said that the future is going to be in the sea in terms of food-wise, because we destroyed the top of the planet. Fish, soy, tofu, rice, none of those are that. I mean, look at white rice and stuff. But, and I've dealt with a lot of Asian people, but I'll say this. Nobody, it's right here, sweetheart. Come on in here. No, come on in here, honey.
Sorry.
It's right there. No, it's okay. It's all right.
I'm just
Say hi.
bathroom.
She said, we're on YouTube right now, so I'll say hi all you want. Maybe not. Yeah.
That's a happy face.
That's a happy face. Well, it will be when you fix yourself, honey. So anyway, the rice, the fish, the soy, the tofu. But if you do anything in moderation, and you have a lot of that, but look at the Americans. They have meat 3 times a day and milk and all this, and a lot around the world they do. You're not going to be long-lived and healthy doing that. And coming out of positions of weak genes and stuff. Sun gazing, oh, and pineal gland, ooh. Oh, thanks, Chad, for that, though. What are your thoughts on sun gazing to activate the pineal gland? Well, let me see. We've got a sweet YouTuber that nearly went blind doing that. I say that's the stupidest thing there ever was. You don't look at the sun directly and spend time doing that. This guy burned his eyes bad. No. If you got a pineal gland down, why? You only have 2 systems to blame. You have the blood or lymph, so blame one of them. Or genetics, we can blame genetics, but then why would genetics? What would cause it to go down in the first place when whoever went down with to start it off? You see what I'm saying? You have to go into the body and take a look at it and see how it's constructed. Once you do that, then things become more simplified and more apparent, that more power to you as having the ability to fix yourself. When you live in these ridiculous concepts of diseases, there's no way you can fix yourself because nobody understands them, because they don't have any basis in truth. They're names of symptoms. Okay? And they're treated by toxic pharmaceuticals. That's not how you get well. You have to understand how the body's constructed and the 2 sides of chemistry and understand your lymphatic system. What is the best ways to open up the 3rd eye? Now you're talking. Look out of it. But if you want to get the pineal gland up, I would rather see you, instead of sun gazing, take raw pineal gland. That'll open up your pineal gland. Pring! Get into contemplation and meditation. Relax. Get the blood flowing in the head. Get the lymph flowing out of the head. You know, get all these obstructions out of the body, and then, of course, you don't have to have the pineal gland. You don't have to have the 3rd eye, because you are the 3rd eye. Realize that you already are consciousness. That you don't need to achieve consciousness. You already are consciousness. The only thing keeping you from that is your mind and emotions. Sorry, they had to stick me out here. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Take care of yourself.
Okay.
All righty?
Bye.
one hurting puppy badly. Sulfur all over the place. Badly. She's hurting so bad it's not even funny. In all levels. But that's what I would say, you know. If we're going to do contemplation, you know, you can contemplate looking out the tissue tail, but really just merge and be part of the all, because you already are. Just totally relax and just don't even focus on anything. The minute you focus, then you notice you can't achieve. You have your best out-of-body experiences as soon as you just totally let go, and then you're out. As soon as you go, what? You're back. You know, it's just a total surrender to consciousness. When you're working more with consciousness, you're not so much a traveler because you're above creation. Keep that in mind. For those of you who are traveling, when you get in and realize that you want to focus more on the traveler as opposed to traveling, it's all going to change for you a little bit. So be careful with sun gazing, because we have a lot of people with severely damaged eyes from it. What are the best ways to open up the third eye? Twink! No. You know, just get it healthy. Go healthy. Love and hugs to you, all of you. Love you, man. You know, just merge with the all. It'll all open, let me tell you, because consciousness is here. And so you just, and of course, the more on fruit you are, you're raising your kundalini. You don't have to raise it. You're working more from consciousness. You're eating foods that are more conscious. You are. And when you start eating foods that are lower in vibration and frequency, you start feeling at lower levels. There's all kinds of cool stuff we could talk about. Things that, I mean, there's all levels, and we'll open up hopefully to these, but I got to go here. Now, can anyone tell me why my OCD anxiety increases when I eat bananas? Well, I know this much. You don't want to go then to the other guy because he wants you to eat 30 bananas a day, right? Interesting. Your OCD and anxiety increases when you eat bananas. Are they ripe? If they're not completely ripe, that can give you a little acidic kick maybe. Hard to say. I know one thing, sodium, potassium, and you've got your adrenal glands there, so it's influencing your adrenal glands in some way or another. I wouldn't think negatively, though. So that would be a good question. We shall, Kingfisher, look at it a little deeper. See if I can't come up with some, but I've never heard of that. Other than you're dealing with a lot of sodium, potassium, it could be affecting kidneys and adrenals. The only thing that comes to my mind at all. All right, lovely ones. Helen, thanks again. Thank each and every one of you. And you're all just blessed souls. It's just so exciting to work with you. And the energy, we're building some good energy out there, you notice? I love it. So for all of you, all my love. And the love of the universe. We'll see you the next time.